Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 10 new Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs that are great for last minute crafting because they're really pretty easy. For this DIY, we're going to be crafting one of the little timer candles from the Dollar Tree, the battery operated candles. I love the fact that they're set on a timer for 6 hours. That is perfect. You don't have to worry about turning them on and off, but they're really fun to DIY. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Basically, I want to cover the white candle with something prettier, so I picked up some napkins from the Dollar Tree. These are the candy cane. I didn't like a lot of their Christmas napkins this year. The patterns weren't great, but the candy cane one is really nice. And, they come in a gold, but I picked up one that was like a brass. Then I decided I wanted mine to be gold. So that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and paint it. I'm just going to protect the candle itself here just with a paper towel. And I'm going to simply use some gold metallic spray paint to paint this one. And then I'm going to cover the candle. It'd be really fun to do a variety of these. You could do them all in different materials. That would be really cute too. I think you could probably even use fabric to cover the candle itself. So I painted it gold and let it dry. That's what it looks like. And now let's decorate it. They don't come with candles. They take AAA batteries. So I'm going to go ahead and add those to it. I really love the fact that they're on a timer. I wish more Dollar Tree battery operated candles were like that. Now, this is the napkin we're going to use. It's not going to take very much of it, and it's definitely long enough to cover the entire candle. I thought this would be cute because I have a lot of red and white candy with my gingerbread DIYs in my house. I just cut it down to size and then removed the second layer, so I have one thin piece of napkin that we can cover this. I want my edge here to be straight, so let me go ahead and cut a straight line there for the bottom. And I'm going to simply wrap this around. Again, I don't need very much, so I'm going to go ahead and remove some of the material here by cutting it. And then I'm going to cut it where it goes all the way up to the candle. It does kind of bevel in a little bit there at the top, but I want to cover that part too. So I'm going to cut it right where the candle starts. And then we are simply going to decoupage this on with Mod Podge. So I just put a very thin coat. When you're working with napkins, you don't want to go too thick because you don't want a lot of bubbling or wrinkles or anything like that. And then I'm just going to put this on here. I'm going to have my seam be like on the back of where I want to look at my candle. And so I just lay that on there, lining that up. And I am going to have a little bit of an overlap here on the back. If you cut it a little shorter, you wouldn't have that, but I'm okay with that. I just added a little bit more Mod Podge, and I also Mod Podged the top of the battery operated candle, so it would go in that little bevel area there at the top. So easy. I'm not going to Mod Podge on top of it. The napkin is very delicate, and I think that that is going to work perfectly. Now, to decorate the base of the little candle, I'm going to use some of the greenery from the Dollar Tree, one of these little glitter sprigs. I love the fact that it's got the gold glitter on there. It matches the gold in this, and I just add a little hot glue to that, gluing that directly onto the front. And then, since it is a candy cane theme, I thought it would be fun to put a couple little candy canes on there. I picked these up on Temu. They're little tiny candy canes. And a lot of times items that you order from Temu are kind of small, but they're great for little details like this. And there's certainly items that I can't find at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to glue two of them onto the base. And look how easy that was to do. I love the 6-hour timer. It lights up only on the candle top. Let me show you how it turned out. This is what it looks like during the day. It's bright and cheerful. If you want to display yours in your windows, they will look so cute. That's what they're traditionally for. With blinds in my house, it doesn't really work for me, so I'm just going to add this to my Christmas decor. And since it is the candy cane theme, I think it's going to look really cute with all of my gingerbread stuff in my dining area. This is what it looks like lit up at night. It doesn't light up the entire candle. It only lights up the very top of it, but I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this one? Hey guys, if you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We're so close to 50,000 subscribers. And don't forget to hype this video. For this DIY, I want to make a snowman using one of the large vases from the Dollar Tree that's fluted and one of the large Christmas ornaments. The Christmas ornament is going to be its head. It's just clear plastic, and again, the vase is just glass. I was inspired to make this project by a project that I saw on the Word and Home blog, and I will post a link to that down below. She definitely inspired me to make this one, and I'm so glad I did because it looks so cute. So the first step is to paint both of our pieces. This is the Christmas ornament. I put mine on a plunger handle, and I'm just going to use some of this white Rust-Oleum 2X spray paint. It does pretty good with the paint and primer to cover this all in one coat. The plunger handle worked great for that because it was pretty wide and it held this steady. And I also put that in something to set it aside to let it dry so it doesn't touch anything. Now this is the snowman body. I'm just going to go ahead and paint the neck area first and then put it upside down so that I can paint the rest of it here. And again, one coat seemed to do pretty good. Now, if you do have a little bit of anything showing through, it's going to be okay because we're going to cover this with like a snowy material too. But I think these turned out great. Now for the body, I want little buttons to go down the front of the snowman. So I'm going to use some of these stickers from the Dollar Tree and we're just going to paint them. These are like the larger button stickers. I'm just going to paint mine black. And I want to add all of the details first before I add the snowy layer to the snowman. I love snowmen for Christmas, winter, even Valentine's Day decor. They're so great because you can leave them up all season. Now I'm going to hot glue them. They are stickers, but not sticky enough to stay on a project like this. So I just add some hot glue carefully to the back because they are plastic and I don't want them to melt, and I glued those on for the body. Then I realized those would be, the perfect size for the eyes as well. So I went ahead and painted two more of the stickers black to use for the head. They're too big for the smile, so I'm going to use some of the smaller button stickers from the Dollar Tree. 5 of those. I'm going to paint those black as well, and that's going to be a perfect little grin for the snowman. This is its head, and then I got this great hat. Look at these hats I got on Temu. So cute, perfect for a snowman. I knew I wanted to make a snowman, so I ordered these. Now, on the original blog that I posted, they DIY'd a snowman hat. So if you follow that link, you can get an idea how to make a little beanie hat for the snowman. I just simply attached it with hot glue to the vase. I think that will be fine. You can always use a stronger glue if you wanted to, but for a project like this, I think that that's going to be strong enough. And then I hot glued on our little button eyes here. I wanted to try the hat on first, so I kind of knew where to put the face. I don't want to cover up any of his features. And then again, I painted the smaller little button stickers for the grin. Now, these are pretty tiny and my hot glue gun likes to shoot out a lot of hot glue. So I was trying to kind of like just dip the stickers in the hot glue. So I didn't get as much on there, but you might be better off using a different type of glue on that. The hot glue was a little globby, but we were able to make it work. The fact that we're going to be adding snow to everything means it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, I did use a little heat to make sure that I cleaned up the hot glue, and look at his face. It dented in slightly. Now, I'm not worried about it because a snowman is normally kind of lumpy like that, but beware, don't use your heat gun on the plastic ornaments from the Dollar Tree. They're just too fragile. Now for the nose, I took some Model Magic from the Dollar Tree. Sometimes I think you can get those a little bit cheaper at Dollar General. And I just simply shaped a cone shape. It's very similar just to working with Play-Doh. It's super easy. And I hot glued that onto the face of my snowman for a little carrot nose. And then while it's still wet, I'm going to go ahead and paint it. I never have trouble with that. It dries to like a hard foam material, this stuff. And I just painted it all over carefully, trying not to get any of the paint on the snowman's face. And the color I used was just a pumpkin color for the carrot. Now time for the snow. I'm going to use some Elmer's spray glue and I'm going to use some white glitter. I think I got both of those at Walmart. I simply spray the glue on and then sprinkle it with glitter. I love the fact that the white glitter is in a shaker bottle. It makes it so much easier to work with. And then I spray it again with the spray glue. If I have any areas that I found that I missed, I just went back and added more. And this combined with the white paint really kind of made it look like snow. There's other options you could use as well. You could use some of the faux snow from the Dollar Tree. You could use Epsom salt to do a faux snow. That's one of my favorites. But basically, I want to cover everything. So all of the buttons, the face, everything, make it all look snowy and frosty, even the outside of the carrot. And I just keep adding it until I cover the entire snowman with glitter. It's a little messy at this point, and beware working with glitter. You're going to have it everywhere. Now, while that starts to dry, I'm going to start working on his scarf and his hat. So I have one of these little placemats that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. I thought the red plaid would be perfect. This is a Christmas placemat for a little Christmas scarf. And I just cut a strip of it here, and I think that's going to look so cute for the little scarf. I'm going to use that for reference to cut another piece about the same size because I don't think that's going to be long enough for a scarf for a snowman this size. And again, just cutting off the back layers. The great thing about this is there is a pattern on there. It makes it pretty easy to cut a straight line. And I think two of them together will work for that. But I want the hat to match as well. So I'm going to use this thin strip here that I cut off first and kind of cut off the seam just to give me a small little plaid ribbon here that I can wrap around that cute little snowman hat that I got from Timu. Now, the fabric does fray a little bit. I just tried to clean it up the best that I can. And I'm going to simply wrap that around our little snowman hat, attaching it with hot glue here on the back. I do want to add a few more fun details to this too to decorate his hat. He's not going to have any arms. I couldn't think of any way to actually attach to the glass face, but I think that's fine. And then I'm going to decorate it with a little greenery from Dollar Tree, cut down to like miniature size, the little fir greenery. And then I also found some miniature little pine cones on Timu, and I thought they were so cute for a project, especially like this. So I glued those on as well. For the scarf, again, it did fray, so I just went through and tried to cut off any of the strings. I'm not going to seal it or anything like that. I think if I get it cut pretty well, I won't have any problems, and I do want a little fraying at the end of the scarf. Now I'm going to simply wrap this around my little snowman, and I'm going to try to have like one part of the scarf going down to the side like that, this part overlapping just a little bit. I glued it in a fold like this so it would go down exactly where I want it to go, and then I overlapped it here with the other side. Now this is the other piece, so I'm going to need another piece of the scarf so both pieces can go down. This one I'm going to have to cut a little bit at an angle like that to make it look like it's folded over the top. I'm not actually knotting anything, but I wanted to make it look like it's wrapped around and knotted around the snowman's neck, and I have that kind of going out towards the front. Once I got it trimmed to size, I'm going to actually just pull the horizontal strings out of the fabric. It was a little tricky, but if you can get a hold of them, you can pull them out. And it's going to give that like frayed look that you see at the bottom of a scarf. And so I just did that with both sides. I thought that would be a fun little touch. Now for the hat, I'm going to simply glue that in place by adding hot glue here on the inside of our little hat so it doesn't fall off, and glue that onto the top of our snowman. Didn't he turn out so cute? I really love him with his little denty face and all. This is how he turned out, our little snowy snowman. I love him. I think he looks so festive, and I always need another snowman in my Christmas decor. My husband probably begs to differ, but that's okay. Isn't he cute? I love that idea, using an ornament and a vase from the Dollar Tree. Now, this DIY is going to be so easy. I picked up an 8 by 10 frame at the Dollar Tree that's a little oversized because it is matted. And I thought that would be the perfect size to make some Christmas art using a gift box from the Dollar Tree. They have some beautiful designs, so this is such a quick, easy way to make some art for your house, and it's so inexpensive. Now, this is the frame. I'm just going to go ahead and take it apart. The reason I chose this one is because it had the mat and it was going to make it the perfect size for a gift box. These are the gift boxes that I chose, the little Christmas trees. I love that design. I think it's really pretty, and it says Merry Christmas. But I wanted a little gold shine for my frame, and it was like a dark wood look. So I just took some gold metallic spray paint and simply spray painted it. Really easy to get that shimmer. I love the gold and red. We're going to be using a lot of gold and red in today's DIYs. I love that for Christmas. Now for the frame itself, I don't need the mat or the paper or anything like that. I do want to use the glass. And these are the gift boxes. Again, they had so many fun prints. They had snowmen, they had gingerbread men, they had all kinds of stuff, but I really loved these little Christmas trees. And it says Merry Christmas in gold. It is the same exact width as the size frame, as you can see, by laying the glass on top. I'm going to use a pen to kind of mark out where I need to cut the top of it. As you can see, I fit in almost the entire image. I want to make sure that you can read it. So I cut off the very tip of the top of the Christmas tree. And then I'm going to kind of unfold the sides of the box and trim those off as well. Items like this from the Dollar Tree, gift bags, boxes, and stuff like that, you can make some really pretty Christmas decor with. So I just cut off all of the sides and the bottom. And instead of putting this under the glass, you could do that if you wanted. I wanted mine to look like a canvas, like a wall art. So I'm going to glue on top of it. I've used this technique a million times. I always love how it turns out. I just used some matte Mod Podge and went all over. I did a pretty heavy coat because this gift box material, the cardboard, is kind of heavy, right? And I just laid that right on the top and then I smoothed it out with a dry paper towel. I'm trying to make sure I don't have any bubbles at all. And I did get it on there a little crooked, so a sanding sponge can get any excess paper off the side so it'll fit in the frame perfectly. And then we're going to seal the top of it. This step is really important because it's going to give you those brush strokes. And so I'm going side to side with some Mod Podge. I let that dry and then I'm going to go over it one more time. Now I am using the matte finish Mod Podge. So that's kind of the look I wanted for this one. But if you want yours to be glossy, you could just switch that up. 2 coats should be perfect to seal it. It gives it a wonderful texture. And now we can add this to our frame that we painted gold. It turned out great. I'm just going to add this like this, and then I'm going to put the back on the frame. It has a stand or a hanger, so you can use it either way. I think I'm going to use mine as a stand, which is great for this size. And look how beautiful that piece of art is, just using a gift box from the Dollar Tree. I love that idea. Here's a little close up. You can see that texture on there from the Mod Podge, which gives it that canvas art look. And everything fits so nicely inside this frame, including the entire word there at the bottom, the Merry Christmas. So easy and a great last minute Christmas Dollar Tree DIY. For this DIY, I picked up a glass vase from the Dollar Tree and a glass jar. I wanted to put them together to try to make it look like an old-fashioned candle lantern for Christmas. Now, this is the jar I got. I got it on clearance at Dollar Tree for only 75 cents because I think it was missing the lid. I've used these before for DIY, so I recognize that, but I thought it was a great deal. I think I'm going to have it upside down to make it easier to glue the vase onto the top. And then I'm going to use one of the Dollar Tree shower curtain rings. I'm just going to split it in half, use the piece that doesn't have the tab sticking out, and put a handle on the side of our little lantern. Since I'm gluing onto glass, I wanted to use a really strong glue. So I'm using Gorilla Glue Clear Grip. It's very similar to E6000, something very strong. And I'm going to glue that on. This has that little area there at the bottom. I thought that would be an easy place to glue it to, and then glued this on with that. I am going to have to set that aside so it will dry. If you had a smaller coffee cup or something like that, you could use that too. But I think this is going to be perfect for scale. And these little lanterns always have handles on them like that. Something that you can carry it with, all right? I'm going to spray paint the entire thing with some gold metallic spray paint. I'm going to start right here at the bottom to make sure I get in all of those areas. And I'm also going to go ahead and spray the handle inside and outside. And then I can sit that down and just spray paint the rest of it. Now, I wasn't sure how spray paint and glass was going to work on this with the metallic, but it actually turned out pretty cute. This is what it looks like after it's set up to dry. And then we're going to add the little fluted vase here on the top. I think that looks perfect. It looks just like the top of a little candle lantern. It does have a tag here on the bottom, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. And we're going to glue that on. Again, I'm doing like a glass to glass, so I want to do something really strong to bond that together. And then we're also going to decorate this little DIY for Christmas. I'm using the Gorilla Glue Clear Grip here for that glue as well. I'm going to put that around the edges where it really comes into contact, but I'm also going to use a little hot glue to get us started so I don't have to wait for that to dry before I can start decorating things. Now, to decorate around it, I wanted to do like a little candle ring, something that wouldn't interfere with anything. So I'm just going to use one of those little garland ties from the Dollar Tree. You could also use the regular garland, it's wired too. And I'm going to simply wrap that around, kind of linking it on itself. Where you double it up, it does make it a little bit thicker. So I think I'll have that towards the front of how I want to display it like that. And then to decorate it, I'm going to add some pops of red with some of the little red berries from the Dollar Tree. I'm just using some pet nail clippers. Those work great for wire cutters. And I am cutting those down and gluing them on individually. I think 3 is going to be enough. I just kind of stagger those out and glue those into that greenery garland. Super cute. And then I thought some jingle bells would be fun. So I have some little gold jingle bells from the Dollar Tree. Thought that would go nicely with the gold on the base. And I'm going to glue 3 of those on as well, about halfway in between each berry. That way I have a little pop of gold and a little pop of red there all the way around. Super festive and cute. Now for the candle, I have these. They're kind of red, but they weren't quite red enough. So I think I'm going to switch it up with a battery operated candle. I found these at Dollar Tree and they look kind of old and cool, right? And so I'm going to add that too, a little votive candle, turning that on, and it's easy enough to dump that out to turn it on and off so I can still get to it. But this is how it turned out, my old fashioned candle lantern Christmas DIY. I think that battery operated candle with the little drips in there looks really cute and vintage as well. And just using a clearance glass jar that I got at Dollar Tree. That is a product they normally carry. And again, the shower curtain ring there for the handle, it worked out well. It's not super strong, like I wouldn't actually use it to pick it up, but it adds a great decorative touch. And this is what it looks like lit up at night. I think it's so festive and fun. What do you guys think about this one? A fun way to make something with a vintage feel for your Christmas decor. For this DIY, we're going to use the play balls from the Dollar Tree. They have these great ones for Christmas and Christmas colors. They were actually in the toy aisle at the Dollar Tree. I just found them at. I picked up 2 red and 1 white, and then I picked up some of these little party cups from the party section for the top, and we're going to make some giant Christmas ornaments to go outdoors. These would look great hanging in trees. I don't have anything besides palm trees, so I'm going to use them to actually decorate the bushes in the front of my house, and they turned out so cute that I'm going to have to make more for sure. I love them. So the red and white balls are already the colors that I want them to be. They also had blue, but I thought the red and white would be great. I'm going to use my little hot knife without the blade on there. I got this on Amazon. Check my Amazon shop below for a link to this. They are great. Sometimes this one's sold out, but I think any of the ones that have the hot knife attachment on there will work. They're all about the same size. There's a couple different varieties. And I'm just going to use that to punch holes in both sides of the party cups so that I can string hangers on these for the actual tops of the ornaments. I think the shape on these are perfect. They're made out of a thin plastic material. We're going to paint them to make them look festive. I'm going to use this gold metallic spray paint by Rust-Oleum to spray all of those. You really only have to spray the top, so I'm going to go ahead and lay them all in here and spray them. And then we're going to attach them to the top of the play balls for giant Christmas ornaments. It worked out perfectly and it was so easy to make. So I just sprayed painted them all with the gold. You can use really kind of, I think, any kind of metallic. You could also do like the silver, the chrome, whatever style you're going for. And again, just setting these aside to dry. All it took was one thin coat to cover that clear plastic. Now, the sticker on these is like part of the ball, so you can't remove it. So we're just going to have to try to work around it. For the hangers, I'm going to use some of this mesh tube from the Dollar Tree. I have some of this left over from fall, so it's gold, so it works perfect. You could also use rope or whatever you can find. I thought this might be a little bit more durable to hold up outside. So I just cut a piece of that and I tied that here on the inside, just double knotting that to make a little hanger like that so I can hang the ornament. And I want to make sure I make it long enough to be able to go over the greenery that we're going to be hanging that on. And then I'm going to do the same thing here for the other two. I'm definitely going to have to find some more of these play balls so I can make more of these. They look so festive in my landscaping. I absolutely love how these turned out, and I can't believe how easy they were to put together. Other options, if you don't have any rope or this, I think you could probably use like some twine material too. Just try to use something strong. Sometimes when I use just the jute twine from the Dollar Tree, it's not strong enough to hold up very long outdoors. It like seems to degrade a little bit. And again, I'm just trying to make sure that all of my hangers are about the same length. They don't have to be perfect, but I just cut the pieces down to size, tied those inside, and then kind of measured to see if they were like similar to the other ones. Now it's time to put it together. I want to cover up the little inflatable hole and I want to cover up the tag. So I'm going to go ahead and shine the rest of it with a little adhesive remover, like some of the Goo Gone stuff from Dollar Tree, the glue away, to make them shiny like Christmas ornaments. I'm going to use those little party cups to stand this ball up to make that easier to work with. And look, the party cups are the perfect size. They cover the tag, the barcode, and the little inflatable part there perfectly. I'm going to use a really strong glue for this. I'm using the Gorilla Glue Clear Grip because I wanted something really strong because hot glue and the rubber ball are definitely not going to work. So you're definitely going to have to set these aside, let them cure a little bit so that your glue sets up. I haven't had any problems with these out in my landscaping. They seem to be holding up just fine. Now, again, I'm just shining them to make them look shiny like a Christmas ornament with that Goo Gone material. But I try not to add it to the top where I'm going to be gluing this on because I don't want it to be like super oily at the top. And again, the Gorilla Glue Clear Grip here along the edges, I try to make sure that I put it all the way around. It's easy enough to clean up with a baby wipe if you get a little bit too much and you notice it coming out of the sides. And again, the party cup here on the bottom to stand them up on definitely helps them from rolling all around. They're a little dusty and dirty from being in the store as well, and so that helps clean them up too. This is our third and final one, gluing the top on. And again, I did set these aside and let them dry. I want to make sure that glue sets up really well. Aren't these so cute? I love how these turned out. Let me show you what they look like in my landscaping out front. I really like that deco mesh for a hanger because it kind of looks like a rope, but it's also that gold metallic that matches the top of the ornaments. Here is one of the red ones. Hey, you can see my palm tree reflection. The bushes in front of my house is where I decorated these. I kind of did the area around my entryway, but I would really like to line the entire front of my house with these in the shrubs that are out there. I think that would be so cute. This is the white one. And I'll also show you what they all look like together. They're the perfect scale. It's something that you can see from the road, and I think they look so festive. Now, I don't have any Christmas lights on these bushes. I'm going to do all of my Christmas lights on the other side of my landscaping. So this definitely adds a pop of Christmas to this side of my house. For this DIY, we're going to use a Dollar Tree 4x4 wood frame, some Jingle Bells, and just a wood box from the Dollar Tree. I made sure to get a box that would be the perfect size to make a shadow box. I want to make like a little shaker box with these, and so I'm going to use the glass and the frame on the front of the box. And so I'm just going to go ahead and take it all apart so that we can paint it. I don't need a little staple, so I'm going to carefully remove those with a pair of pliers. I find that bending them first back and pulling them out works good so it doesn't split the wood. And I want it to be a festive red for Christmas, so I'm just going to use some bright red acrylic paint and we're going to paint everything. I'm going to paint the inside of the shadow box because you're probably going to be able to see in there. And then, of course, all of the outside of it as well. And I also want to paint that wooden frame for the front. Now, there's different sizes of the wood boxes from the Dollar Tree. So depending on which one you get, you can kind of experiment with some different frames. But Dollar Tree does have a lot of like square frames that's going to work really well for this. And you'll already have the glass for the front of it as well. So this is kind of a standalone piece. I want it to all look good, so I went ahead and painted the back as well. Now, I wasn't sure about painting this frame, and I was disappointed. As you can see, it's like really glossy and sealed, so it does not adhere the paint at all. Now, the wood beads do. They're like a raw wood, and they absorb the paint, so we're gonna have to get creative with how we paint these. So I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe that off. It's definitely not sticking here to that glossy wood finish. I've had problems with Dollar Tree frames before with that, and so I'm gonna rough it up by trying to take off that glossy coating with a sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree. And it definitely did rough it up pretty well here. So I went around like that outer frame, and then I also kind of have to do the inner frame. It's the same thing where it's all sealed. And it was a little tricky trying to work around the wood beads on that, but I think that will at least like help the paint to adhere. It's still not perfect. You'll see how we end up really making this red and pop. But I wanted to use acrylic paint on this just for time purposes. It's going to dry with my heat gun super fast, and I don't have to wait for it like I do with spray paint. So I went ahead and painted the entire thing. I did both of the frames, and that did cause it to stick better. And then to get in between the like little wood beads here on the front, I switched to a paintbrush and painted those bright red as well. Now, I thought at this point that it was looking pretty red. I thought it was going to work. But once I started to dry this, I did notice that a lot of it didn't look good. You could see the wood coming through, as you can see there, around where the wood beads and the frame come together. So I give up and I use some bright red spray paint here. This is the apple red, I think it is. And I just spray painted that to get down in between all those pieces, and it just made it look so much better. So I probably should have done that in the first place on that. And then I'm going to fill it up with the giant jingle bells from the Dollar Tree in gold. I thought these would look so fun in here. And there's 9, which fits perfectly on the inside of this box. Now for the glass, we're going to add that back to the frame. I'm going to add some vinyl to that to really give it some Christmas fun. I add a thin row of hot glue on the inside of the frame and glue the glass into place since we removed the staples from this. And this is going to be the perfect front for the shadow box, the little shaker. And then I cut this vinyl out. I will include a SVG for this if you would like to recreate it. The eye, the dot of the eye, definitely went off with my vinyl, so I had to recover that. But it basically just says Jingle Bells in like a script font that I think is going to be really cute. I just cut this out of white vinyl, and we're going to add that to the glass. It's going to go with my red, white, and gold color that I really like. And I just use a little transfer paper. I love the paper transfer paper on Amazon. I do have that linked in my Amazon shop. It's definitely one of my favorites. It adheres to the vinyl really well, as you can see. Then I'm going to add this, trying to make sure I get it kind of centered in there, and add the vinyl to the front. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, I think it would still be really cute. You could even hand paint on there if you were confident on painting on glass, but painting on glass can be a little tricky, so I definitely wanted to use vinyl for mine. You could also use a window decal. That would work as well for something to add to the front. If you could find something that said Merry Christmas, that would be really cute. Or like a Santa Claus, Snowman, Gingerbread Man, something like that. I put hot glue on it, and I glued it where the base of the frame lined up with the bottom of the box so it would sit evenly so I can stand that up. And this is how it turned out, our little Jingle Bell shadow box. My son thinks this is really fun because you can pick it up and shake it and you have some real jingle bells. And it's always fun to have like some decor pieces that you can actually play with, I guess. But I love the bold red. If you're going to use that exact frame, I definitely recommend spray paint for sure. For the next DIY, I wanted to make a Christmas Carol candle. So I'm going to use one of these glass vases from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to simply remove the tag from the bottom and cover it with a Christmas Carol. I found a link that has like free printables of Christmas carols, and they have them on this aged paper background, which is great. So I chose Amazing Grace. There's lots of them on there if you want to choose a different song. And I will include the link to that website down in the description of today's video. I needed to make it wide enough to cover the entire vase. So I am going to have to trim some of it off because I needed to make it wide. So I printed it as wide as my printer would go. It doesn't print borderless, but almost 11 inches. And then to attach it, I'm going to use some spray adhesive. You could also use Mod Podge on the outside of your vase to cover this, but I definitely wanted to attach it and kind of make it one piece with this, and then we can light it up with a fun candle for Christmas. I've had this idea for a while and I'm so glad that I created it. I think it's so cute. I love the song on here. Amazing Grace is probably my favorite song. I love the song. So beautiful. And it's going to make me smile. Now, the great thing about the spray adhesive is it is repositionable. If you get it on there and it's not quite right, you can kind of lift it, put it back down, try to line everything up. And then I just kind of rub the outside of it with a dry paper towel to make sure I don't have any bubbling. And I think that that will dry nicely. Now, I wanted to add some bells to it. I thought that would be fun. I found these bells on Amazon, and I will include a link to these in the description of today's video. Aren't they so cute? It's a box full of bells, and I love the size on these. I was thinking one, but then I thought, I think two would be really cute to hang on the front of this candle, this Christmas candle. So yeah, I think that's going to work. Let's go ahead and use two of those. And then I'm going to simply wrap it with some twine and use the twine to tie the bells on. So easy. I just wrap it around about 3 times and then tie it off. And then I'm going to use the ends of it to tie the actual bells on. Instead of using the metal clips that were on there, I'm just going to use the twine to tie them. So that will make it super easy. The brassy finish of these is perfect, and I love the combination of the bells with the song here with the sheet music. Isn't that so cute? I really love how this is looking. And then we are going to add a candle. I didn't have a candle quite tall enough, so I'm going to boost mine up with one of these little glass candle holders from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to put it in there upside down and use a Dollar Tree candle in the color ivory here so you can see the candle from the top of it when you light it up, and it will light up the sheet music. Isn't that so pretty? I love how this turned out. This is what it looks like during the day, and I will also show you what it looks like at night. So fun, and I love the fact that you could customize it. If you wanted to make a set of these with different songs, that would be really pretty as well. But anything that, like screams Christmas to you, Amazing Grace is just such a beautiful song. I love this. It was always a favorite lullaby for my son when he was little. It's not necessarily a Christmas song, but you can use it for a Christmas song, so that's what we're going to use. Isn't that so fun? I love that idea. For this DIY, I wanted to see if I can make a Jenga block Christmas tree. At first, I was going to use that wood base that you see there from the Dollar Tree, but I do end up switching that up because it was just a little bit too big. These are the Jenga blocks that I just got at the Dollar Tree. Half of them are like natural wood and half of them are stained, which I kind of like the ones that are stained. So I thought we could add them to a Christmas tree here just by staggering them up like the side of a Christmas tree. And then the other side, we're going to do like the opposite. Now, for the corner, I'm going to have to overlap it there at the top. So they're not going to be quite symmetrical, but I can always space out how I attach them to make it kind of line up more towards the end. And I was just trying to keep like the number of Jenga blocks even here and kind of seeing if I was going to like that. For the bottom, I wanted another piece of wood to put it all together with here for the base of the Christmas tree. I'm going to use some of this camping kindling wood from Dollar General. I got so many of those things on clearance. They're normally $1 at Dollar General, but at the end of the summer, they clearance them off, and so I have tons of wood, but you could use craft wood for the bottom of this as well. It's kind of a lightweight piece of wood, but it's going to work perfect for this. I'm going to stain it with some antique wax by Waverly to kind of make it blend in a little bit more with the stained Jenga blocks. It's not exactly the same color, but you're not going to be able to see the front of it. It's just going to be kind of the structure of it, and I want it to blend in. So I definitely stained that first. And now to build the Christmas tree. I'm going to glue the Jenga blocks together, one overlapping the next one, about halfway. And I just used hot glue for this. Have you made a Jenga block project using Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree? And if so, did you use a different type of glue? I did consider using a different type of glue because hot glue can be a little bit messy with this, but I just kind of took my time and tried to clean up any excess hot glue that might have seeped out. But there might be a secret glue that I don't know about that might work better for this. But I thought the hot glue would be fastest, so that's one reason I use that. I guess you could use wood glue if you had a lot of time. For the top here, I didn't go about halfway. I went about a third of the way. So I would have extra length there on top. So the top of the Christmas tree would come to a point like that. And I'm just kind of spacing those out. I get more towards the bottom, doing it about halfway. I just want to make sure that my tree is symmetrical on both sides, given the fact that I have to overlap the top of it. And I think that looks pretty good. I have the two pieces of the Christmas tree like that. And then I have the base for the bottom. To cover that up, I'm going to use some more of the Jingle blocks so the wood will match. So I used 4 pieces to cover my piece of wood like that. And we can put the Christmas tree together. Again, I did have like a lot of hot glue that I did clean up on this project because I definitely wanted that not to be visible. But the fact that these little pieces are already stained, that helps because if you have any hot glue seeping out, it's not going to stain if you were to stain it later. But paint would work. I used hot glue to attach the top together, and then I'm going to use a lot of hot glue on both sides to stand our tree up here. I will add some snowy touches and stuff to that, so I don't care if you can see the excess hot glue there. I just wanted that joint to be as strong as possible. You might even use a nail to make sure that that's super strong. Then I decided the base was a little too big, so I switched it up for a wood circle. This is a chunky wood circle that I got at Michael's. I think it was like $1 something, so pretty equivalent pricing to the Dollar Tree, and it's a really nice wood slice. I'm going to stain that too with some antique wax by Waverly. It doesn't stain quite as dark on the top, but the sides did. And I'm going to cover the top of it with snow anyway, but I just wanted to go ahead and stain it in case there's areas that you can see below the snow. And I think that will coordinate nicely with the Christmas tree. For the trunk of the tree, I'm just going to use 3 Jenga blocks. I decided 3 would be a great height for that. And so I'm just going to simply hot glue those together to make a little stand here for our Christmas tree. This turned out so cute. It's so like vintage Christmas. I added as many Christmas details to this DIY as I could. I glued the tree trunk about halfway there in the middle of our circle. And then for the snow, we're going to use some Dollar Tree Epsom salt. It's always one of my favorite winter hacks. I use school glue all over the base of this, kind of spread that out so it's not so stringy. And then we're going to add Epsom salt. At first, when you put it on, the Epsom salt gets wet. It looks clear and it looks kind of like icy, which is cool. But when it dries, it's going to dry white. So it looks just like snow, and I scatter that all over. To make sure that doesn't go anywhere, I also sprayed it from the top with some Elmer's spray adhesive. I actually got that bottle at Walmart. I used to be able to find the spray adhesive at Dollar Tree all the time, but I can never find it anymore. And then I also used some white glitter to make our snow sparkle. You could also use like the faux snow from the Dollar Tree. It already glitters too. That would work too. And then I decided I wanted like snow on each section of the Christmas tree to make it really fun and wintry. So I added some school glue to the bottom half of each one of my Jenga blocks like that. And then I added the Epsom salt. So every part of the Christmas tree looks like it has a dusting of snow on that. I am avoiding the top at this point. I do want to do like a little tree topper there at the top. And again, Epsom salt. And again, I just glued them all on with the school glue at first. I also tried to cover up the hot glue there at the bottom that I used to attach it. Then I sprayed it with spray adhesive to make sure it stays on there and glittered it with some white glitter to make that sparkle too. The glitter did try to go like just about everywhere on this, but that's okay. It's Christmas, we can sparkle. I want a little bit of snow, not a lot, but just a little bit. I don't want it to interfere with what we're going to add to the middle of our Christmas tree. And so I added the Epsom salt and glitter to the sides as well. And I do want to add a little greenery in there as well when we go to decorate the Christmas tree. Now to put it all together, I put some hot glue on the Jenga block and glued on the little craftwood piece there that I had that kind of kept it all together. This is what we're gonna put in the center. It is a Santa Claus ornament that I got from the Dollar Tree. I think it's a really good value from the Dollar Tree for a little ornament. I just cut off the hanger, and he also had a string like around his waist. I'm gonna cut that off too. He's got a really cute suit. He's holding a Christmas wreath, and I think he's gonna be the perfect size for this. He looks so vintage for Christmas as well. I'm gonna glue the little Santa boots here right in the middle of our Christmas tree like that. He fills up the middle nicely. You could also use like a reindeer or something like that. For this star tree topper, I'm going to use some push pins. These are like in the stationery aisle at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to choose the white one that's kind of like iridescent. I think that's going to be pretty for the top. It's kind of small, but I think it will work. I didn't want anything to really take away from the Santa Claus. And it is a push pin. I'm just going to simply use a pair of pliers and pull that off. That way I can just hot glue the plastic star here to the top of our Christmas tree. And that was such an easy little tree topper there for the top. Just attached it with hot glue. It's looking really cute so far. I did want to add some greenery. This is some greenery that I found from the Dollar Tree. It's not quite green enough though that I wanted for the color. I wanted to match kind of the wreath that the Santa Claus is holding. And so I'm just going to paint it. I used some Christmas green with a little dot of black paint in there to make it a little bit darker. And I'm just going to use a sponge and simply paint the greenery. I've been trying to avoid getting too much floral or greenery at the Dollar Tree. With their price increases, I think it's just kind of expensive. So if I can DIY something that I already have, I'm going to do that for sure. 2 sprigs of this I think is going to be fine. I can have both of those in the base of the Christmas tree along with the Santa Claus kind of coming out both sides, pointing towards the outside of the tree like that. I'm going to simply just attach them with a little hot glue here to the back of the Santa Claus, the stem of each one of those. And I think that really adds a fun touch to this Christmas tree. And then I'm going to use some of the little miniature pine cones that I found from Temu. These are so cute. And you could also use like Jingle Bells, some of the berries, something small that you can find from the Dollar Tree, or something that you have in your craft stash. I glued 2 pine cones on, one on each side of the greenery on each side. And I think I need a little bit more snow here in the very front, but I'm not going to decorate the base, just the Epsom salt and glitter for snow. And this is how it turned out, our little Jenga block Christmas tree. So fun to make. I don't make a lot of Jenga block crafts, but I know a lot of people really love these. So I definitely wanted to see if I could come up with a Jenga block Christmas tree. I think he turned out so cute. And the Santa has so many great details. He has a really great Santa suit on as well. That combined with all of our faux snow, a little bit of greenery, I think it looks so fun and vintage for Christmas decor. This DIY is going to be really easy. I'm going to show you how you can make some Christmas wall art using a gift bag. So I got a large 16 by 20 gold frame from the Dollar Tree. I love the fact that it's already gold, so I don't have to paint it or anything. And then I found a great gift bag from the Dollar Tree. Just like with the gift boxes, they have so many beautiful designs. And I found a great winter scene that I thought would look really pretty with this. We're going to do a little bit different technique because it is going to be glossy. But I do want it to look like a Christmas art canvas, not necessarily under the frame. I want it to be on top of the frame as well. Now the bag is larger than I need for the image, but I kind of did that on purpose so I can cut the handle and everything off of it. And I got like the important part of the image. I can just cut off the very top of it here. And I just simply sketched that out with an ink pen on the front of the gift bag. Now I really love the fact that it's iridescent. The gold is all metallic and really shines. So we're going to go with that. We're going to do kind of a shiny Christmas art piece with this gift bag. They had so many pretty ones too. They had entire aisles of them at my Dollar Tree. And so they can be a great crafting material as well. I'm going to simply clean my glass and a Mod Podge to attach this to the front. Now, if you wanted something that you could switch out of your frame, you could go under the glass like a traditional art piece. I really like the canvas look better, so that's why I like to go on top of the glass. Once I got it covered with Mod Podge, I'm going to simply lay my gift bag on top. It's a thick foil glossy paper. but it attached pretty well. And then I'm going to go over the top of it with a dry paper towel, smoothing it out, making sure I don't have any air bubbles. Working quickly, I don't want my Mod Podge to set up before that starts to seal. Now, you don't have to seal it since it's already glossy and shiny, but I decided to. But I don't want to take away from the glossy foil. So instead of using matte finish, I'm using the gloss finish Mod Podge. Basically because I like the brush strokes. I think that looks really cool. And so I'm going to go over that with a couple of coats. Sealing that, it's probably going to make it more durable as well for some wall art since we're not going to be using any glass on top of it. I went over it with a second coat. It definitely didn't take away from the gloss foil, and I really love how this turned out. I did have a little bit of excess paper sticking out here on the edge, so I just kind of sanded that with a sanding sponge to make sure it's still going to fit nicely inside my frame. And how beautiful is this image? I love the fact that the 16 by 20 frame was already gold. I didn't have to do anything to it. And it's a nice large size, so you can get one of these large gift bags from the Dollar Tree to decorate yours as well. I put the back on it. It has a hanger on the back. It's pretty large, so I can hang that on the wall for some really simple Christmas decor, great for last minute crafting or if you don't have a lot of time. I love that there's a little cardinal on there. We have a little red Christmas barn in the background and some cute little deer here in front. And it definitely shimmers. It's going to look great with Christmas lights for Christmas. Isn't that so cute? It was so easy to make. Now I'm going to make some Christmas candles for my kitchen table, and I found these great Jingle Bell candle holders from the Dollar Tree. They are perfect. They're just the right size for a taper candle. Like they hold it really well, and they're the perfect color of gold metallic. I love them. I do want to add a few more Christmas touches to them though. So I'm going to use some of the wired greenery garland from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to simply wrap that around the very top here of the candle holder just so we can add some Christmas fun. If you watched my gingerbread Christmas video, I did a centerpiece for my table and I have a bright red tablecloth. So I definitely wanted some candles to put on the sides of that long centerpiece. And I think these are going to be perfect to go with the gingerbread decor I have there. So I just simply made a little wreath by wiring that to itself and laying that on the jingle bell. Now this is a little bit long, so I'm going to trim it up. You could also use the little greenery metal ties from the Dollar Tree. Those would work well too. And again, I just give it a little bit of a makeover because I felt it was a little too wild looking. I'm going to do the same thing here, making a little candle ring for the other side. I don't want anything that's going to really interfere with the candle itself so that we can definitely burn these. And this will be at the base, so I think it'll be fine. So I just put that one on there, trimmed that one up as well. And then I want to add some Christmas touches to it. I thought we could add some little jingle bells. I found some red jingle bells that are little tiny ones. I thought that would be really cute since the candle holder itself is a jingle bell. And we can add some little pops of red in here. So I'm going to hot glue those around. I decided to do 4. That way all 4 sides of the candle holder are going to have a little pop of red and a little jingle bell. You could also use like the little red berries from the Dollar Tree. I think that would be really cute as well. But the candle holders themselves were perfect. I didn't have to do anything to them. And a lot of times they don't hold like the taper candles very well. And these were just perfectly sized too. I picked up a set of 2 red taper candles from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to simply just add these. I'm not going to add anything to them. I think they're perfect as is. And see how well they work? I was impressed. I didn't have to use any kind of adhesive or anything to get the candles to stay in place. And this is how they look, my little Jingle Bell candles. Super cute. I lit them to show you how they turned out. And my family always loves, like, anytime we can do like a candlelight dinner, it just seems really festive and fun. So I think these are going to work really well on the table. And the candle holders are definitely a great Dollar Tree find. Let me show you what these also look like lit up at night. So festive and fun, and I'm really glad I put these together. I love a candle DIY for Christmas. I think they're just so festive and fun. I really hope you enjoyed these 10 new Christmas Dollar Tree DIYs. I had so much fun creating them. And let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. You can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media. And this is a QR code. If you use your camera on your phone to scan this, you can buy me a coffee this Christmas. Enjoy the final reveal.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, we're chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Merry Christmas Day. A Merry Christmas Day. Oh, yeah. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as we walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Yeah, a Merry Christmas Day. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas Day.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. That helps us YouTubers so much to watch the entire video. And I also would like to give a huge thank you to my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Maren Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, Powell Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Jenny, Debbie Austin, James Osborne, and Lizette Thomas. Thank you so much for your support. If you would like to join, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video on your computer or your phone. I would really appreciate it. And if you would like more Christmas inspiration, be sure to check out one of these Dollar Tree DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting for Christmas.